like this when it comes to Rob Parker. Rob Parker was for the culture before there was such a saying, before it was trendy, before it was hip. Rob always held it down, on camera and off camera. Obviously, we all know he speaks his mind, and we all know he represents us at the highest level, as well as anybody in this business. But it's really behind the scenes where Rob's influence, to me, is most meaningful. I met Rob not long after I broke into this business. He immediately put his arm around me, and not just put his arm around me and was like, "Hey man, let me show you the ropes. Let me help you out. Let me introduce you to some folk." He immediately showed me a level of respect that I had not earned. And that's the thing about Rob that I love the most, is that he respects everybody, even those who haven't accomplished a fraction of what he has in this business. I love him dearly for that. He's been incredible to me. He's supported me every step of the way. He's been a mentor, he's been a friend, he's been a role model, he's been all those things. And just, behind the scenes, he just does more than people realize. He's a mentor to many, he's a friend to many, he's everybody's favorite crazy uncle. One of a kind, Rob Parker. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much for everything.
But of all the things I've accomplished in my career, the thing that resonates the most, that I'm most proud of, is the mentoring of other sports writers and broadcasters coming up behind me.
My name is Darren Haynes, and before I was a SportsCenter anchor at ESPN and now the sports director at the CBS station in Washington, D.C., Rob Parker gave me my first opportunity on television.
Whenever they come up with the list for greatest mentors ever, Rob Parker's name should be toward the top of that list. I'll never forget reaching out to Rob via email in December of 2007. And he got right back to me and said I could intern with him in Detroit.
I actually was going to quit pursuing my dream to go and work at Wachovia Bank in North Carolina. That's how bad it was. Rob cussed me out. Said, "No way, no how."
Sometimes you can have mentors working beside you and they don't even know that they're really mentoring you. They're going about their jobs, they're doing what they're paid to do, but they rub off on you. I definitely had that when I covered the New York Knicks for the Daily News. There were two mentors there every day helping me along. Cliff Brown, we call him Downtown Cliff Brown from the New York Times, and Curtis Bunn from Newsday. The three of us, three young black guys covering the Knicks, traveling the country, was awesome. But I learned so much from them. Cliff was so professional and he knew how to deal with people, and he was always on time. All the stuff that you want to get, I used to look at that and marvel at Cliff. And Curtis was, man, he was the hot shot guy. He knew everybody. The players would whisper in his ear. I used to watch Curtis, how he used to deal with people and how he would interact with people. There were different kind of guys, but we were all doing the same job. And those guys served as mentors to me, and I'm very appreciative. To this day, we have an unbelievable, unbreakable relationship, and I'm thankful for both Downtown and for Curtis.
Hey, this is Mark Spears from ESPN's Undefeated, and I certainly owe a lot of gratitude to Rob Parker, man. One of the best journalists in sports and just one of the world's best people. He was really helping me a lot early in my career, reading my stories, giving me feedback, telling me what I needed to do to be better. And he also just gave you a roadmap, man, on the success and showed you the right way to go. And how to report well, how to build contacts, how to use your personality. I mean, Rob is all those things and an entrepreneur making money on the side. he showed you how to just be great in all aspects. So thank you very much, Rob, man. You mean so much to me, and I'm proud to be a mentee of yours.
Hi, I'm Vincent Goodwolf from Yahoo Sports. I'm a senior NBA writer, and I am certain I would not be in this position that I'm in if not for the mentorship of Rob Parker. Certainly there have been many others, but someone from the beginning, I can remember a text that he sent me, I think it was like 2007, to be honest with you, so it was 13, 14 years ago. And it was just a random text. We were just going back and forth, and then maybe an hour later, he says to me, you're going to be a star. And I didn't know what that meant, and I didn't know how to take that. I thought that was something he told everybody. But he told me I had potential, and he explained to me later on, the things that I needed to do to be successful. And at that age, I hadn't had the guidance. I think a lot of times you hear mentorship, you hear or you think about criticism. And although Rob certainly has critiqued through the years, he's given honest encouragement.
I'm Martin Weiss. I'm an associate producer on Undisputed with Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp. And I would say that my mentor-mentee relationship with Rob Parker has evolved into what is now a genuine friendship. But the overall most important thing for me and Rob for my career is Rob turned from what I call a mentor to me is somebody who gives advice and will point you in the right direction. Rob advocated for me on several occasions to people who I would not have been able to reach with nearly the ease or the ability that I was able to. And the way I was introduced to a lot of very important people in this sports business through Rob, and that came from his belief in me and getting to know me through our mentorship experience. And so, Rob Parker's been an invaluable resource for me. I can say, without him, I wouldn't be where I am today. And I actually don't think it's hyperbolic to say that Rob Parker's probably done more for me than anybody outside of my direct family.
I want y'all to take a trip with me down memory lane. This had to be 2009, 2010, my first NABJ convention. I was a young college kid at Western Michigan University, Sheon representing always. Decided to go from down in Michigan to, I believe, in Tampa, Florida. And I met a lot of different reporters. I was starstruck by some of them, I'm not gonna lie, but I had the courage to approach this one guy who I saw on First Take, Rob Parker. Knew he had ties to Michigan, knew he had ties to Detroit, covering the Lions and things like that. I approached him, and he took me up under his wing from day one. I remember I came with this thick packet, clips and stories, and I gave them to him, and I gave them to a lot of people, but he was only one of the few to actually respond. And he marked my stuff up. I thought I was a good writer at the time. He marked it all up with red ink, told me what I need to work on, took the time. I always call him, lean on him, and I'm always thankful for Rob Parker for doing that, because had he not done that, I wouldn't be in the position I'm in now. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to cover the Utah Jazz and, make it to ESPN and work on a national level. It's because of that fundamental, opportunity that Rob Parker showed me of what being a mentor was. So shout out to you, Rob Parker, man. You really showed me what it was, how to be a mentor, how to pass it on to the next generation. And thank you for everything, man. A real definition of a mentor, kept it real with me from the jump. And it wouldn't be no Eric Woodyard without a Rob Parker. So shout out to you, man. I'm thankful for everything.
I had the pleasure of meeting Rob Parker in the summer of 1994 at the Detroit Free Press. I was a baby and Rob was a teenager. Actually, I was an intern and Rob was a columnist, and he had just gotten a job there in recent months. And I was part of the intern pool, and I have to say this about Rob. Rob made it a point to reach out to all the interns, introduce himself, let us know that, look, if you need anything, I'm here for you. And here's the thing about mentorship. I don't have a lot of Rob Parkers in my life, because what he's done for me over the course of my career is not easy, and not everybody is good at it. And so you can do the math, 1994 to 2020, Rob's been part of my life over that time in a significant way, at every job, at every turn, and he has always been there whenever I reached out to him. And for me, I've taken cues from Rob over the years. on what being a mentor means and what mentees expect from you. So, Rob Parker, man, I love you. I appreciate you. You know how it is. Keep doing what you're doing. One love, brother.
Hello, my name is Jason Ingram. I'm Associate Director at Turner Sports NBA TV. And I'm lucky enough to have the pleasure of having Rob Parker as my mentor for the last 15 years. Rob has not only been a mentor to me, but a confidant and a great friend. Rob never indirectly has given me a job, but every single job I've had since coming into the journalism field, I've went through Rob to make sure it's the right decision. He's given me the good, the bad, the pitfalls that could come with the job, but each time he's given me the right advice. But that's not just what a mentor does. He doesn't just see about jobs. He sees who I am. He wants me to be a better person. He wants me to succeed. He wants me to not do any of the pitfalls that he had to go through when he was coming up. That's why I'm always so thankful to have Rob Parker as my mentor.
Hi, my name is Jason Dumas, and I met Rob Parker back in 2011, so darn near 10 years ago at this point. I was a production assistant at ESPN, working for one of the shows Rob was on ESPN, and he just took me under his wing. He actually took me out to lunch, and we had great conversation, and he actually helped give me the courage to leave ESPN and spread my wings and become a TV sports anchor on air. And that's what I've been doing ever since, and I've worked my way up, and now I'm a sports director in San Francisco at a TV station out here. And me and Rob have kept in touch the entire time. I visited him in Detroit when I was visiting my sister at Michigan, took me out. He's always there, a phone call away. He gets out here to Northern California a good amount because he's down in SoCal. And it's evolved into not only just a mentorship, but a friendship. And I'm so grateful to have him in my life as a friend and as a mentor. And he's really been paramount in my career success.
When it comes to mentorship, Rob is one of the most solid people I know. From the beginning, he's always showed me what's possible if you stay focused. And every time we're in the same city, we have a tradition where we link up, we have wings. He's consistently inspiring me and a lot of other young people like myself. So Rob is a solid dude.
Hey, this is Brandon Wellington. Most people know me as an actor, writer, and poet. But what most people don't know is that I was the in-game host for the New York Mets, and that's where I met Rob Parker. I'll never forget. It was 2015 Game 4 of the World Series. I gave the opening monologue. Rob came up to me at the first pitch and said, "I just want to say that it felt good to see another brother out front doing his thing. I'm Rob Parker." I said, "Rob Parker, you need no introduction, man. It's a pleasure. I grew up watching you." He said, "I feel like you're going to go on to do great things. Let's exchange contact. Next time I'm in New York, we'll break bread." Sure enough, next time he came to New York, next couple times, he took me out to lunch. We talked life, sports, and making it in this industry. About a year later, I got an opportunity to host NBA G League Weekly and sideline report for the NBA G League Finals on ESPN. I had never sideline reported before in my life, so I called Rob, and he stayed on the phone with me for as long as I needed, gave me all the advice I possibly could need to sideline report. And I just thank him. That's one of the many things he's done behind the scenes. So beyond being a sportscaster, Rob has been a mentor and a friend to many, and I'm one of the lucky few.
Rob was my way into the business. Rob used to, man, like I never forget, and I'm just humbled by it, because I remember I never forget I didn't have a job when I was trying to get in this business, and Rob took me from job fair to job fair, at NBJ, just holding my arm, saying, "Hey, this kid is trying to get in the business. He's trying to get in the game." Desk to desk, from the Boston Globe to the New York Times, New York Daily News, whatever. I said, this kid needs a shot. He just needs a shot. And a lot of people don't go to bat for you like that.
Long before Rob became a huge national media star, he was a quasi-starving journalism student attending Columbia University while simultaneously writing for the New York Daily News. Me, being just slightly younger and beginning my journalism journey, I used to often wake Rob from a deep slumber, seeking his advice and counsel on an array of subjects and topics. Rob was always there for me. Over 30 years later, nothing has changed. He remains a true friend, a brother, and a trusted ear. Rob, I can sincerely say, brother, you have been one of the great mentors in my life.
Over the past 12 years, I've been able to reach out to Rob, whether it be for advice if a new opportunity presented itself, or just to talk about football, basketball, or baseball, or to remind Rob that he owes me on a wings bet. Rob's mentorship has been invaluable, and I can honestly say that I would not be sitting here today as a director of digital sports at the Philadelphia Inquirer if it weren't for Rob.
Rob Parker gave me my first opportunity on television. He had a show called Rob Parker Sports Wrap, and back in 2006, I was chasing my man all around the city of Detroit trying to get a job. And he told me to leave my resume tape under some random door, and the door was random, had no name. So I left my resume tape under that random door, and then a few weeks later, he gave me my first job covering the Detroit Pistons every single week. And still to this day, he says he never looked at my resume tape. And I'm glad he didn't, because I wouldn't be in the position I am in now. Years later, and because of his mentorship, I can say thank you, Rob, for winning me a bunch of these.
And he saw how passionate I was about this career and the goals that I had, and immediately got my information, and that night texted me and reached out to me and really lent a lending hand, a helping hand when he did not have to do that. And ever since then, we built such a strong relationship. We make fun bets, and he's always one call away, one text away. And it's truly touching. And it's a valuable lesson that I'm extremely thankful for, that I've learned. And I can't wait to pay forward someday. And I'm very thankful for Rob Parker and the relationship that we have.
Meeting Rob Parker was like destiny for me. I was a young sports junkie and aspiring sports columnist who knew Rob from his photo bylines in the Daily News and Newsday. I also knew Rob because he grew up right around the corner from where I live in Addisley Park, Queens. The lady Julie that worked at the corner store also had his newspaper clips up in the store all the time, and she offered to introduce me one day because she knew I was an aspiring journalist. When I was in college studying journalism, I had to do a story on a reporter, and I called Rob over at the Daily News to try and interview him. After several attempts, we hooked up at a diner in Queens to do the interview. Rob was gracious as usual, and I did very well on the project. That was really my entrance into sports journalism world in 1995. From there, Rob plugged me in with the sports section at Newsday, and that was the beginning of a relationship that has spanned 25 years, with Rob now serving as the godfather of my 14-year-old son. Our love for baseball is the bond that ties us together. We've covered MLB All-Star games together, played on softball teams together, done podcasts and radio shows together, and even went head-to-head on a national sports debate show. There's not a more solid guy I know in the industry, and few better friends, if any, in the world. He's the mentor of mentees and has a coaching tree of successful young journalists that is comparable with any sports media OG in the game.